Hello, this is Desborough. It's a small Northamptonshire town in the middle of England with a population of about 11,000, double what it was 70 or so years ago when I was young. I'm Brian Manton. I was born and brought up in this house in Pioneer Avenue with my sister Pauline by mum and dad, and we went to the infants and junior schools in Havelock Street, the same ones as mum and dad did many years previously. The town's main industry used to be boot and shoe manufacturing, and dad spent most of his life as a clicker here at the Co-op Crompton Shoe Factory, some 100 yards from where he was born. The first week in August was the annual holiday. All the factories closed and we had our yearly trip to the seaside. We would go by train from Desborough to London and then on to Clacton. The rest of the year, our seaside was the Eyes Brook. We spent many happy hours by it, paddling, fishing and climbing trees. Anyway, that was nearly 70 years ago, and now I think it would be rather fun to try to find the source of the eyes, follow it along its length to its mouth, and perhaps visit some of our childhood haunts on the way. According to the OS map, the river lies entirely within Northamptonshire. It's about 25 miles long. It starts somewhere near Naseby, and it finishes by entering the Nen or the Nene somewhere near Wellingborough. So, let's have a go. We'll start at Naseby, Northamptonshire's highest village. The fields are lovely and quiet now, but in 1645 Cromwell and Charles I fought the deciding battle of the English Civil War here. The main fighting was at Broadmoor. You can see it in the middle distance on the other side of the valley, and it was from this spot that Cromwell led the final cavalry charge. Nowadays, Naseby is a quiet little village with about 700 inhabitants. Edward Fitzgerald, who translated the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, once lived here. He also helped to locate the Civil War battle sites. The pub was closed when I visited, but looked as if it was being renovated. There are monuments around Naseby to the battle sites, and memorials to some of those who died. It's in these lovely fields around Naseby that the springs and streams which form the Eyes can be found. Not far from the A14, you can see it in the distance, I had a close encounter with one of the more remote springs. It appears to have been used for a long time as a cattle trough. So a small stream starts. It disappears into the trees and goes on its way. Not far away is a high, rather bleak field that slopes into a drainage gully. A small stream soon develops, and this is another tributary of the Eye. After a few miles, these streams join and pass through Tally-Ho Covert. The valley's wider here, and it's a pleasant wooded area. The water flow has increased, and the still young Eyes continues on its way. Further along the river is the little village of Kelmarsh. About 200 people live here. Kelmarsh Hall's an 18th century country house. It's managed by a trust and is still in a working estate. The grounds are really lovely. The Eyes enters the estate under this bridge. It's been landscaped into two lovely lakes. Recently a system has been trialled for extracting heat from the water to warm the house. So, after a cup of tea, we found where the river leaves the estate and passes under Kelmarsh Bridge. After a few more miles, the Eyes arrives at the village of Arthingworth. The population is about 250. It didn't exactly look its best when I visited it on a cold, misty November day. The river that we've been following, that starts near Naseby and flows through Kelmarsh, is normally considered to be the mainstream of the Eyes. But north of Naseby, a series of springs and streams have developed and formed into a quite major tributary, so much so that some have considered this to be the main source of the Eyes. Well, whatever the argument, the two join here at the village of Arthingworth. The one coming in this direction is the one that comes through Kelmarsh that we've been following, and the one behind me is the one that comes through Clipston. Anyway, the two join together and form a much bigger stream, which is this one. And this carries on under the Arthingworth Bridge and then carries on in an easterly direction through the rest of the Northamptonshire countryside. We're now nearing the places I remember as a child. This is New Bottle Bridge near Harrington. We would often walk here of a Sunday evening, Mum, Dad and Pauline, as much as I remember it. And we used to race our sticks under the bridge. We call this the bomb road. The lay-bys, you can see one on the left, were made to store hundreds of bombs during World War II. We used to play near them and on them, but were always a bit scared. Now, this should be the footpath to Pebbly Beach, our childhood seaside. This is our first visit in 70 years, and I don't really know where we are, as the river has been altered since then. I don't remember it being like this at all, do you?
No. And I'm certain we didn't have to jump a brook or anything.
Now I do recognise these embankments. They are the remains of the old mineral railway which used to cross the brook at Pebbly Beach, so we must be getting near. We used to play on the embankments and cuttings. Here we are during the winter of 1946, playing exactly where the A6 bypass now runs. I don't know where the devil we are.
No, I don't. I reckon that's Basin up there.
It could be.
So where's Pebbly Beach?
Well, it's got to be that way.
So we've come past it.
We must have.
Through all that.
Yeah.
I know I said to Donald, can you get to Pebbly Beach? And he said yes. He said, but you won't recognise it.
That's probably it. Well, this must be Pebbly Beach, but it's certainly not as I remember it. The banks have been built up, it's overgrown and it's no longer a grassy meadow. But I do remember fishing here and watching the water rats. So that's it. Well, goodbye Pebbly Beach. Thanks for the many happy memories. Okay, let's go. This is a lovely quiet part of the river. I recognise it as the field where I saw my first clouded yellow butterfly some 70 years ago. The poet John Clare so loved this Northamptonshire, his home county. All nature has a feeling. Woods, fields, brooks are life eternal. And in silence, they speak happiness. But it's not so quiet when we come to the new bridge on the A6 bypass. What wildlife have you seen there?
Otters, mink, stoats, kingfishers. There's a pair of kingfishers on the bank. But just lately I haven't seen much. Until they've cut the corn and tidied everything up down there. You can't really see. It's an actual battle. You've got weeds as nigh and as tall as me up there. You've got to really, it's like a jungle to get through, you know, so I take the easy way out.
Have you seen any water rats or voles?
Water rats I haven't seen. I can't remember the last time I saw a vole, but I think the stoats and the weasels have had them.
Is there much fish in here?
Oh yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah. There's one particular place not far from the bridge. Actual fact, it's a nice little eddy that just comes round and it's quite deep, and it's basically where the kingfishers have got their nesting hole. And they just lie there, the fish, deep down, but they sometimes rise to the surface. That's when the kingfishers have them, but I haven't seen that yet, so.
We're still moving eastwards along the brook, south of Desborough. This is the house where I was born, but it wasn't white then, and it didn't have rooms in the roof. and the view we had looking back from the garden to the eyes, taken some 50 years ago. So we continue and arrive at Big Bridge, which carries the old A6 Desborough to Rothwell. I'm at Big Bridge now. This is the boundary between Desborough and Rothwell and lies just outside Desborough at the bottom of the hill. We used to come here and play a lot as children. It hasn't changed a great deal in the last 70 years, except perhaps it's a little bit more overgrown. But the other difference is, of course, up here it's the old A6 and there's still a terrific amount of traffic going over it, which there wasn't when we were little. But it's good to be back. Desborough's old watermill was once powered by the eyes. An electronics firm now occupies the site. And so we leave Desborough. Rushton's a small hamlet near Desborough, Rothwell and Kettering. Its population is about 500.
No, not at all.
Rushton Hall was built in the 1400s by Sir William Tresham, who fought alongside Henry V at Agincourt. Today it's a Grade 1 listed building and a hotel, but previously was a school for children with visual impairment run by the RNIB. The Eyes enters the grounds and flows into a lovely landscaped lake. In a corner of the estate is Triangular Lodge. It was built by Sir Thomas Tresham, a gunpowder plot conspirator, in 1597 and symbolises the Trinity of his Catholic faith. It's been restored by English Heritage, but when we were young was a bit of a ruin surrounded by trees and undergrowth. We were not allowed in, but as you can see we managed, although it was scary and we thought haunted. Same person, same building, nearly 70 years on, but now not so scary. Another lake in the grounds is well stocked and popular for fishing.
It was carp, silver carp, yeah.
Yeah, it was silver.
But in here, I mean, well, anywhere in here, but I mean, there's carp in here that are 25, 30, 35 pounders. But this sort of big. Oh yeah, but that deep, yeah, but that big.
Yeah,
Huge,
really?
yeah.
Does anybody ever catch them?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You put them back?
Oh yeah, you can't take anything, yeah, but you can't eat them, so there's no point in that.
The Eyes then leaves the estate, passes under Rushton Bridge and continues on its way. Geddington is a pleasant little village of about 1,600 inhabitants. The Eleanor Cross from 1294 is a memorial to the overnight stop of the body of Eleanor of Castile, Edward I's much-loved wife, on her final journey to Westminster from Harby in Lincolnshire. There's a lovely medieval bridge at Geddington which crosses the Eyes and gives access to the village. Ever since Naseby, the ice has been flowing to the east, but as it passes under this bridge and leaves the village, it changes direction and is now flowing south. Soon after leaving Geddington, the ice flows through Boughton Park, where Boughton House is the home of the present 10th Duke of Buccleuch. In the 1720s, the second Duke, Planter John, designed these lovely landscape lakes and water features, using the Ise as the water source. He also planted avenues of trees on the estate. It's a lovely spot here, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. During the war years, when the German prisoners were in the park, we had over 2,000 prisoners here. We used to come down and watch them swimming in this. They had a diving board off this bridge and dived in. It's about 9 foot deep there. So,
Star Pond is the last of Boughton's lakes. The nearby village of Warkton is still part of the Buccleuch estate, but now some of the houses have been sold.
this is Warkton Bridge that takes the road up into the village. It was lifted 3 feet in 1901 because before that, whenever we had floods, this road was impassable and people had to go round by Barton Seagrave, which is about a 5-mile detour.
St Edmund's Church in Warkton is the estate church and contains the tombs of the Montague family. The Montague monuments are their memorials. They have been extensively restored and are really lovely. This monument to the much-loved second Duke John shows his grieving wife Mary watching Charity hang a portrait medallion to the Duke, while the canon refers to his rank of general. The monument to John's wife Mary shows the 3 fates who choose the thread of life, spin and finally cut it, while the young boy holds a spindle from which the thread was taken. This lovely monument to Mary, 3rd Duchess of Montague, shows an angel pointing to heaven and a grieving woman, possibly the Duchess herself. Here the Duchess Elizabeth, Mary's daughter, holds the Bible while a scribe records the good deeds of her 84 years of life. Nearby, at the village of Weekley, which is still part of the Buccleuch estate, are the remains of another of the Ise water mills that was used for grinding corn.
This is the tunnel where the water went down, got straight through to the other side, and there was a tunnel this other side, which as kiddies we used to crawl through it to come out the other end, and they're long since disappeared. This mill was demolished in 1895, which of course is 125 years ago.
What were you saying about the bridges?
Well, the Roman bridge is just there.
Oh yeah.
The stonework's, you can see all the stonework anyway.
Yeah.
You can see that.
And was it Roman?
No, I don't know what it were, but it was stone.
It was just a stone bridge.
Yeah, but it's been made from some other buildings because the stonework, what's in the river now, is cut blocks.
Right.
And they're different shape.
Okay.
And you can see they've been on something else.
Right.
So they've pulled something down somewhere and they built that bridge, because the top half, the sides were brick,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
bottom half are a lot older and it's
Yes.
stone.
We used to come down here when we were kids and play, but after the years it's just got a bit broken down and a bit dangerous now, so not many people come down here like they used to.
Further on, the eye passes the site of another old watermill, of which no trace now remains, and gently continues to flow into Kettering. Kettering, with a population of about 60,000, is the largest town through which the eye passes. The church, library and Sir Alfred East Art Gallery, with the self-portrait of Sir Alfred, are worth seeing. Also the old grammar school, where I spent my teenage years and which is now the town hall. And maybe I am in that picture, taken in the winter of 1950 by chemistry master Mr. Lawson. So, the Ise flows through the fields between Kettering and Barton Seagrave, passes under the road and enters Wicksteed Park. As it passes through the park, it supplies the lakes with their water. Well, it's tradition that you always have an ice cream when you come to Wicksteed Park or anywhere else.
I know.
So I'm just keeping the tradition going.
I'm pleased to hear that.
Leaving the park, it is now on the final stages of its journey towards Wellingborough and the Nen. So, this is journey's end. The young Ise has grown up, it enters the Nen and starts its new life.
Do you know, I'm really surprised and pleased. I expected it to be plastic bags, bottles and bits of detritus, and it's beautiful. And I'm quite happy for it to go into the Nen now.
Yes. That's great.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the Ise Brook, the point at which it joins the River Nen and continues its journey through Northamptonshire, Cambridgeshire, Lincolnshire and Norfolk, then through the Wash into the North Sea. Not the most important river in the world, but one that has played an important part in the lives of many people. For me, many happy memories. Walking to Harrington Bridge of a Sunday evening with the family, catching sticklebacks at Pebbly Beach, crossing the river while swinging on a rope, swimming in basin, and many more. The River Ise, the river of my childhood.